We got a booty to build.
Welcome to, or welcome back to, another episode of Project Me.
AKA like the 15th time this year that I've actually restarted like a fitness journey, so to speak. But it's not about how many times you fall off, girls. It's about the fact that you keep getting back up and getting back on track.
Okay girls, I've honestly tried about 15,000 different ways to record this, and every single time it sounds deep fried AF. But I'm really excited to bring you this workout, and I know that you're going to get a lot of value from it, so just please bear with the sound and hopefully I can come up with a solution in future. Anyway, the main focus of today's session is going to be the quads and the glutes. So the quadriceps are the group of muscles that we have at the front of our leg. If you were to lift and extend your leg in front of you and you hold your leg, you'll feel them working. You'll feel your muscles sort of tighten, maybe feel a little bit more firm. And if they don't feel firm, girl, you're in the right place. So this is their primary function, but as well as this, they look after our knees by holding the kneecap in place, absorbing shock and reducing stress on the knee joint. These muscles are essential for movements like walking, running, jumping, kicking, and even standing up from a chair, which one day, girls, that's going to be a challenge. So having strong quads now, we're going to help cute little grandma. And then we have the glutes. So the thing that you're probably sat on right about now, and no, they're not just good for, making you look thick in jeans. We have three key glute muscles. So the glute max, the glute medius, and the glute minimus. The glutes are such an important muscle in the body, and they each work to extend, abduct, or rotate the hips. They keep our core and pelvis stable, they help our posture, and they also make sure that our lower limbs are aligned properly. Let's just say that having strong glutes is literally going to help how you carry yourself, it's going to reduce injury risk, and it's going to boost your daily function and athletic performance. When it comes to training any muscle though, we do first want to warm up. So warm up, I literally just said warm up, my goodness. How long you warm up is up to you. So if you're pretty sedentary day to day, I would recommend, spending a little bit more time on this part of the workout just to physically and mentally prepare your body for movement. My go-to warm up though is 5 to 10 minutes on any cardio machine like the treadmill, elliptical, or bike, just because I can get my heart rate up, get blood pumping, increase my internal temperature, but without getting too fatigued. And the reason all of this is important is because it's preparing our muscles, our joints, and all the little tendons and ligaments that we have in the body for movement. You should feel yourself get warm to the touch and your pulse get stronger, and it's really important to just not overdo it because we don't want to, get rid of all the energy that we have for the workout. We want the most beans for the workout. The second half of my warm-up routine is always some dynamic stretches. So these are active movements, but they're controlled and they're not overly fatiguing. The main reason I personally love these is because once your body is all warmed from the cardio movements, actually moving joints and kind of like loosening up your body, especially if you're sedentary, which, most of my job is behind a laptop, sat down, so I can get really, really stiff, and this just feels amazing. But again, it's just preparing my body physically and also mentally for the movements that I'm about to, embark on. Make it sound like a voyage. I'm a pirate going to search for booty. Now we're warmed up and ready to get into the real meat of the workout. Our first workout is going to be quad by Smith machine squats. The person using this machine before me was clearly a giant, as you can see. The machine works like a cooking system. You unhook the bar and it travels up and down in a fixed path. There are also safety bars, which we will be using because there is no ego in safety. Set up the bar about shoulder height and stand directly underneath. Place your feet shoulder width apart or slightly wider if you have longer legs to your torso like me. Feet should be slightly turned outwards. Engage your core by taking in a breath and then tensing like you're about to stop a sneeze. Squat directly down like you're a baby trying to pick something up from the floor, allowing your knees to travel forwards and outwards. The angle or the gap behind your knees should close up. You can also set up your comfortable range of motion and set up the safety bars at the right height to allow you squat depth whilst giving you a safe exit strategy should you need it. Then pushing up through the ground, thinking about your quads working to stand back up. Okay, now you know how to do the movement. You can go ahead and try it. If we're in the gym right now, we can get going. And if you're not, then just you can see me in the movement, how it looks from start to finish, and then also how it looks when I push myself. Form will slightly break down, but I always keep my core strong throughout, and that is exactly why we have the safety bars if we need them. And just before we move on to the next exercise, I do want this little tutorial to be very thorough. So this is how you would add weight. You don't have to add a clip to the weights on the Smith machine because it is a fixed path machine. They're not going anywhere, girl. And if they are, then the machine is probably wonky and you should probably, not be using it and tell the gym staff because that's an accident waiting to happen. Okay, next exercise on the menu is a hip thrust, and I'm using the Smith machine because I don't currently have access to a machine. And I know for many of you watching, you probably don't have hip thrust machines at your gym either, but most gyms nowadays do have a Smith machine. So So whether you're using a dumbbell, a barbell, or even a hip thrust machine, the tips that I'm about to share will help you make the most of the movement no matter what. Let's start off with the different types of form and also the most common mistakes. Find a box or a bench that sits just above your bra strap or your lower shoulder blades. This one is a little bit too high for me, but don't worry, we will deal with that later. First up, there's two hip thrust methods. You can use the hinge method that involves a rigid torso and only moving at the hips, or the scoop method, which involves more movement below the sternum, like you're tilting your pelvis back and then scooping it under back to the top position. The best technique for you is the one that feels the best and gets your glutes engaged, but both methods include squeezing the glutes and locking out fully at the top. Next, let's talk common mistakes. Number one, not fully locking out is going to leave gains on the table because the biggest part of hip thrust is the tension we create at the top, but actually overlocking and hyperextending the back excessively may begin to take the focus off the glutes and onto the lower back, and this can potentially cause an injury. The goal is to lock out so that your body is in line from your shoulders to your knees. Next, your foot placement. So this is really important because if your feet are too close, you'll activate your quads, but if they're too far, you'll activate your hamstrings. So aim for a 90-degree angle at the knee, and some girls actually feel their glutes a little bit more when they turn their feet slightly outwards. Now, like I said, this bench is just a little bit too high for me, and this particular Smith machine also doesn't come down very far. So to make sure I can keep the right form and an effective range of motion, I lift my feet up using plates. This setup is a bit of a faff, like I won't lie, but this beats loading up a barbell from scratch every time. Be sure to use padding. So I've got a barbell pad, but if your gym doesn't provide these kinds of things, you can try a really thick hoodie or even like a gym mat rolled up to protect your hip bones, because girl, we're going to be pushing some weight as we get stronger at these and you will be feeling it. So with my feet raised so that I can get that nice aligned lockout position, I push my shoulder blades onto the bench, lifting myself up, and then I position the bar in that crease where my leg joins my torso. I don't actually need to set up the safety on this machine because it doesn't actually go low enough to potentially trap me, but please check this, and any machine that you use, just check on the safety measures because they are there for a reason, and it's actually a good thing using them. You know, it's not I'm not strong enough to help myself if I need to. It's more a case of actually when you push yourself to failure, you know that these mechanisms are there to help you when you need to actually fail the rep. Once we're ready to begin the exercise, we can unhook the bar, keeping our chin tucked and lowering the weight with control by letting our hips drop. When we come to the bottom part of the movement, you don't want to necessarily lose the tension by letting the bar just drop. This is a style of hip thrust. This would be a dead stop hip thrust, but actually for these, we're going to keep them constant tension. So when you let the bar lower down, don't let the machine actually take the weight. Keep the weight and the tension on your glute, and then pushing up through the ground and through squeezing your glutes, lift the bar all the way up to the top position, locking out, holding it for 1 to 2 seconds so we can really control that weight, and then again lowering it with control. Next up, we are moving on to the dreaded Bulgarian split squat. I mean, girls, they are horrendous, but these are a booty builder, and especially if you bias them certain ways, you can either bias towards the quads or the glutes, and it's going to help with, you know, development of whatever area you're looking for. So the first tip that I have is when you sit at the edge of the seat, stick your legs out in front of you, and that is going to help you find that foot placement. And then for biasing the actual quads, you want to think about your knee driving over your feet a little bit more than pushing your hips back. And I'm traveling up and down in this movement just to really get the emphasis on my quads. But if we want to target more of the glutes, you want to lean forward and then travel kind of up and down still, but kind of like moving backwards as if you're going down an escalator. And you don't want your knee to be coming too far over your foot, because if our knee is moving, if our knee is not moving, it means that that movement is happening in our hips, which is stretching out the glute muscle and putting tension on the glutes, which is why we are then biasing them. Next up, a really common mistake I see a lot of girls do is trying to put their foot behind their other foot. And this goes for Bulgarians, but also lunges or walking lunges. You don't want to think about walking on a tightrope or aligning your feet like you're on a tightrope. You want to think about train tracks. So you want to think about one foot being on one side of the train tracks and the other foot being on the other side. And what that's going to give you is so much more stability in the actual movement. And then if I'm using weights, which, you know, at some point you've got to cross that bridge, girl, I will put the actual weight on the floor next to where my foot is, and then when I lunge for that initial kind of setup, I will pick up the weight and then start the exercise, and it will take everything in me to not count that as one rep, but that is the setup, rather than trying to pick up the weight from the floor, like bending over, then trying to get your feet together. Like, it just is messy, so I really don't recommend. And then in the actual movement, I'm trying to be slow and controlled, but that is sometimes hard with Bulgarians because you are just sometimes mentally wanting to rush through them. But I just try to focus on pushing my weight through that front foot and avoiding traveling back and putting weight into that back foot, because that foot is literally just there to keep us balanced and keep us stable during the movement. We really want to be focusing on the front leg. That is our actual working leg. And then remember what I said about biasing certain muscles, because that's really important for, you know, whatever your goals are when it comes to training. This is the part of the workout where I genuinely do a big deep breath and I just feel such relief because the hardest part is behind us now. And although we are going to push ourselves on the next few exercises, they are, you know, so much more of an easier setup. They're way less like fatiguing and exhausting. So this is a leg extension. This is going to isolate our quad muscles. And as you can see in the video, the whole machine is adjustable. You can adjust the seat, the foot padding. Certain machines will look a little bit different. Don't be embarrassed if you have to literally get off the machine, get back on, adjust it. You know, trust me, I still do that when I join a new gym and I see like a new machine. I'm like, right, machine, me and you have got to figure it out. And then I definitely would recommend making a note of like the setup that you do, or taking a photo, saving it to your folder, because you would be surprised at how much time you'll waste on setup when it comes to machines and like forgetting what you did last week. You want to adjust the machine so that your back is flat against the support and that your knees are bent at a 90 degrees angle and your little knee pit is kind of like caressing the edge of the seat. The leg pad in front of you should be at the top of your ankles. And then when you're ready to go into the movement, grip the bars at the side, pull yourself into the machine, and then pointing your toes up at the ceiling, extend your legs as if you're trying to push your feet up to the ceiling, and you should feel your quads fire up, get to the top of the comfortable range of motion that you've set, and then slowly lower your legs back down. Start, we actually have a body weight exercise, which, do not be fooled girls, these are no joke. So these are going to be side lying hip abductions whilst also working on our stability and also a little bit of core. So what you want to do is come into a side plank position and then bend your knees and then push yourself off of the mat with that lower leg. And I tend to push my hips back as I come down, and my above leg, if you can, try to then lift it as you come up. So you can do these without that top leg lift and you're still gonna feel them in your glutes, but I just like to go a step further, and they feel really, really good for my glutes as well as just my actual pelvis. Like, can you say that it feels good for your pelvis? I don't even know, but for me, I just find that it just gets all those smaller little muscles that we don't tend to fire up necessarily in other movements, and it feels great. So this has been a go-to exercise for me as a little bit of a like finisher isolation, and try and do 30. Like, you saw my face, try and do 30. They are a killer. But yeah, that is our last exercise, you'll be happy to know. Yay, back to live tabs rather than voiceover tabs. Okay, so yes, I literally just referred to myself in the third person. Don't unsubscribe, and if you're not subscribed, why? I was just packing up and then I realised we haven't stretched. And after 25 girls, that's not an option. That is not an option. Also, you do just get to the point in life where stretching just feels good. Like, it just feels good on your hips, well, everywhere, but like on your muscles, on your hips, on anywhere that feels tight. Yeah, it feels really, really good. So obviously we just worked out our lower body, and that workout was, yeah, it was so good. So I really hope you enjoyed. I hope that it's been helpful, and I hope that you get the chance to try it. I will try to put as much helpful info in there as possible. I know that for some of you might be watching and thinking, Tabs, I've not even stepped foot in a gym. How are you expecting me to do this? I'm really not. I've had years in the gym, and I want these videos to be helpful for anyone and everyone, but I do hope to do more. And if there are, well, there definitely are other things that you can do instead of the movements that I've shown you today. And hold on a minute. What was I doing? Oh yeah, cross it over, hold that in, hold your other arm, and then just, oh yeah, good old glute stretch. Yeah, I do plan to do more. I promise. J'ai promis, ma chérie. I promise to do more. But yeah, this workout was definitely more for if you are a little bit more confident in the gym, if you are a little bit more of an intermediate and you just want to, you know, spice it up, try something new. And regardless, even if you are right at the beginning of your fitness journey, I do hope that you get something from this video, or got something from this video. Pre and past tense. I don't know what tense to talk in, to be honest. But regardless, even if you are a beginner, I hope that you got something from this video, because a lot of these exercises, you know, the form cues that I've given and the talk throughs, they are, you know, the basics to the form. So for example, whether you're using the Smith machine for squats or whether you're using, you know, a dumbbell, what I've said is still gonna ring true. Ooh. Anyway, scooch. You probably like tabs, is that all you're gonna do? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, maybe we'll do another little one of these. Oh, get the lower back open. Quad stretch. You would usually want to hold on to something, but I'm just gonna flex on you at how
great my balance is. The goal of this video was literally just the leg workout, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet for once. You're probably looking at a bar that says an hour and you're like, anyway girls, I hope you got something from this. I can't wait to do more, and have a great day. Do something nice for yourself, and you never know, it could be the best day of your life.